Okay, so the next activity I have is we're going to read some of these books. So I checked out some books from the library, and I've got my class into 5 groups. So I've got 1 book per group. And on each book, there's a Post-it note with a question that group is going to answer, and it tells them the page number that they're going to look at. So you don't have to read the whole book. You're going to specifically look. So table 1, you're going to get this book, and you're going to specifically look at page 34, and you're going to read about what papyrus was used for. And so as you read on page 34, you're going to discuss with your group how to answer the question of what papyrus was used for. And then if you finish that and the other groups are still working, you can look through the book and find out something else, something that you think is interesting about Egypt. So each group would get a different book with a different question, and I would pass those books out and again give the kids maybe 10 minutes. I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to look through the book to answer your question on your Post-it note. I'm going to give each group a sentence strip, and you're going to write the answer to your question from your Post-it note on the sentence strip. So I would pass those out, and again, I would be walking around the room, helping each group if they have questions, monitoring that they're staying on track and that they're understanding. All right, so then we would come back together, and let's say, Wesley, that your group had that book. Okay, Wesley, read what question your group answered.
What was papyrus used for?
Okay, so Wesley's group was looking for what papyrus was used for, and they wrote on their sentence strip. Wesley, read what the answer is on your sentence strip.
Papyrus was used to make paper.
All right. So tell me a little bit about what y'all learned about papyrus.
Papyrus was made out of a plant, and they pressed it into a parchment-like paper.
Okay, so papyrus was taken from the papyrus plant, and they would soak it and they would press it out flat, let it dry, and it was the paper that they ended up writing on. So papyrus was used to make paper. Excellent job, that group. All right, and then I would go on to the next group. They would read the question on their Post-it note, and they would share on their sentence strip, and I would put it up on the board, and they would talk about what they learned. Okay? And if there was anything else, if a group had extra time and they looked at something else in their book, they could share what they learned. All right, so our final activity we're going to do is you're going to pull back out the hieroglyphics page, the alphabet that I gave you at the beginning of class, and you're going to get to write your name using the hieroglyphics alphabet. And I wrote my name right here to show you how to do it, or as an example. So I put my last name, Franklin. You can either use your last name or your first name, but you guys call me Mrs. Franklin, so that's what I put up here. So, Wesley, can I see that hieroglyphics page? All right, so I wrote down F for the first letter in my name, and then I'm going to find the letter F, and I'm going to find the matching picture, and it's a little picture kind of like a squiggly worm or a snake, and so I just drew it. I first drew it with pencil, and then I went over it with marker, and you may want to do that because some of the drawings have a little bit of detail, and you may need to erase. And then I moved on to the second letter in my name, R. And so I found R on my chart, and then I saw the picture that went with it, the hieroglyph, and I drew that, and I went through all the letters of my name. So I'm going to give you 5 to 10 minutes to work on that, and when you finish, you can share your name with your partner. So you're writing down your name, and then I'm going to pass out some paper for you to do that. You're going to write your name, and you're going to use the hieroglyphics chart to write your name using this alphabet. All right, so I'm going to give everyone 5 to 10 minutes. Again, I would be walking around, making sure they understood how to match the letters with the pictures. And then we would come back together. And boys and girls, you've done a great job listening today and participating. Let's talk a little bit about what we learned. What are some things you learned about hieroglyphics? Okay, Wesley?
They are symbols that represent words.
They are symbols that represent words. That's right. They represent words and letters, letter sounds. And what did the Egyptians use? How did they use hieroglyphics? Hieroglyphics were used by the Egyptians to what?
To communicate.
That's right. They used hieroglyphics to communicate. And hieroglyphics were written on what?
Papyrus.
They were written on papyrus. Very good. Now tomorrow we are going to go over pyramids and the Great Sphinx of Giza, and we're going to learn more about pyramids and the Sphinx at Giza. But today you guys did a great job learning about hieroglyphics. You can take your name home and show it to your parents and say that you learned about hieroglyphics. So thank you very much.